Hi everyone, welcome to another live stream in daylight this time, which is quite a nice change basically. And it's very sunny outside, very warm. You can see all the lovely details and shadows, which probably isn't a very good thing for you guys. And yeah, hope everyone's doing well. Today it's just going to be a Q&A session basically, and I'm going to answer questions I had before ahead of time. Didn't get too many, only got 5. It's a bit sad. Then do some questions in the chat, respond to your sort of bird issues, talk about what's been going on here, get some birdies out. Probably not for too long as it's really warm, and obviously I have to have the window shut, so we'll see how that goes. Maybe do some live training, that sort of thing, and just generally chat to you guys and catch up, because I had to delay my live stream due to various things. And yeah, I thought it'd be good to just do basically a sort of more chatty one rather than having a topical one. Yeah, Mr. Charlie's right behind me. He is currently eating, not right next to Olive at the moment because he might get a bit excited at me talking so loudly. Got the fan on as well, low heat, low sort of blow, so hopefully that won't be too noisy and disruptive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start, as usual, with sort of like the questions I got ahead of time. Respond to those questions, then sort of catch up with the chat, answer any questions going on there, and then just basically talk to everyone. Hi, Vixenella, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining me. It's always a pleasure. I'm not expecting it to be particularly busy today, but it's great to have you all here, and just getting anyone watching these lives is always pleasant. So let's begin with the questions. So I'll start with the easiest one, and that was from Amy, and they asked, oh blimey, how are Olive and Charlie doing? And Amy's not a patron or anything, so I thought I'd maybe just give you an update, because I think it's long enough now that we can sort of tell everyone what's been going on. So we started bonding Olive and Charlie pretty quickly, started working on it, because Charlie's very happy with Sophie, not so keen on me at all, though it's improving. And Olive and Charlie are getting on great, and we're starting to do cage trials. So basically we're getting them in the same cage together and trialing how long they can tolerate each other. And so far they tolerate each other, and they're perfectly happy being with each other and generally just enjoy themselves and like being together. We're starting to notice they maybe get a bit annoyed when they're apart as well, during outings especially. So if Sophie wants to take Charlie for a wash and Olive stays with me, she's happy being with me and training with me, but she wants to be a Charlie lots more, which is sad for me, but it's good because it means it's working. So they're getting on very well, and we're quite happy with that. It's more I need to work on my relationship with Charlie more than Olive and Charlie do on theirs. They're doing really well, so that's really good. And yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Joe, that's a very early bit of naughtiness. I wasn't expecting that to flash up, so thank you very much, Joe, as always. Very much appreciated. It is always lovely, I'll talk about a little bit about something later which related to that sort of stuff, but yeah, thank you very much, Joe. So yeah, that's how they're doing. I think they're doing really well. Sophie's putting a lot of work as well, sort of getting Charlie used to things. I'm just basically getting Charlie used to me. He's still very happy, like interacting with me in the cage. And when he flies to me, there's no biting or aggression anymore, which is nice. But I do tend to have to stay still, otherwise he gets so easily overstimulated. So we're taking the long road. Some trainers may be like rush, but we'd rather just take the time and make sure that their bond is good and my bond with him is good. On that topic, Kipling's doing really well with me recently. I was thinking, so this is something I was going to talk about later, but it's kind of related. So as you guys who may have followed the channel for a while may know that Kipling absolutely despised me the moment he came into this house. The first thing he did was attack me when he came out, mauled my head. He's got me loads of times. He's quite a difficult bird, lots of trouble past and problems. And I was thinking to myself recently, all I want to do is achieve tolerance. I want him to just tolerate me and be happy around me. And I realised we've already done that. He may not want to fly to me as often and may not still be very good at interacting with me on my person, but he does tolerate me. He's happy me being around his space. He's happy playing with me. He likes whistling with me. He likes getting scritches through the bars with me. So, I have achieved a level of tolerance there. And I kind of sort of thought to myself, well, I shouldn't be too harsh on myself there, because what we've been doing has been working. And obviously now the problem with that is I have to take that next step, which requires a bit of courage from me, because I'm probably going to get mauled a few times while we take tolerance onto the next level, which is direct interactions constantly. Louis is just chatting in the background now, which is probably going to mean that others will. So if it gets noisy, forgive me. But yeah, I was thinking, I've achieved tolerance there, and that's really good. And I'm quite pleased about that, because again, it shows that sometimes the long road's better for everyone, even though it's more difficult, and it takes a lot more time. So yeah, it's good. Right, let's carry on with these questions. In fact, let's just break for it. Let's have a look at, we've got so much time. Let's have a look at the chat and see what's going on. So I remember Jen, when I first came in, was asking a question about her budgie. Bites her over and over, screams constantly. you need some more background information, basically, because biting and screaming have so many reasons behind them. It's important to bear in mind that biting could be due to fear, it could be stress, hormones. It could be due to a break in trust. Screaming has loads of different reasons. It could be separation anxiety, it could be anxiety. So you kind of need to work and pin down the reasons. Is the diet good? You said that she gets a good chop mix. Is there anything else in there she shouldn't be having? Is it like high sugar pellets? Is there loads of fruit and seed? Are your interactions with her calm? Is there anything difficult in the past? So what is going on with her? You have to sort of work it out, and that's where you sort of pin it down. I mean, sadly, it's quite a broad question without more information, so I can't give you a direct answer on it. I'd imagine it is very hot in Turkey, Vixen there. It's very hot in the UK for us. 28 is oh my God, it's the inferno has come. But I imagine it's much hotter in Turkey, and you guys are probably much more adapted to dealing with it because you have it hotter there so much more often. For us, yeah, it's too hot. I mean, once I get used to it, I kind of start tolerating it. But initially, I'm just like, it's too darn hot. So, Vixen, you had a question as well. Are air purifiers harmful to conures? No, not at all. You just want the right kind of air purifier. I've actually got a video, and it sort of recommends one that we got sent, which we love. We're still using it. It's great. You can find it in my Amazon store. But yeah, air purifiers are fine. Just make sure it hasn't got an ionizer. No ionizer function. That's bad. And make sure it uses a true HEPA filter. That is what you want. And those are the best ways to use an air purifier. If there's any other ways, but yeah, get a decent brand. Make sure it's true HEPA filter. Make sure it's decent. Hi, Laura, welcome. So let's do another question. Then what I'll do is I'll go back to my question sheet and I'll sort of catch up with the chat a little bit. Hi, Sherry, welcome. Dawn, I have 2 green cheeks, separate cages. Is it okay to allow them to go in each other's cages or overnight, perhaps? Thank you. That will depend on how they interact. I think during the day is quite good. If they're calm and they want to go into each other's cages and relax together, they're happy. Why not? At night time, I'd be a little bit more hesitant unless you plan to actually, bond them up so they can share the same cage. It's kind of your call, but I'd just be mindful of what may happen there. Maybe they'll want to be together all the time. They may need to get a bigger cage, but letting them go in and out as long as they're not fighting, completely fine. Why not? You two, Demi, you two are cuddling right now. Yeah, Pickles and Scampy are really cuddling Sophie a lot because she's away pet sitting again at the moment for a very cute dog. And yeah, so when she came back this morning, they were sort of like, normally they want to be with me, but this time they're both sitting there cuddling up, and I was like a bit left out. I was like a bit sad. So let's catch up. Oh, hey, Parrots and Wills. We'll try and send some heat up for you as well. So let's catch up with some of these questions. So we did Amy's. Let's do James's. So my cockatiel often lunges at me on my shoulder every time I move. Does he hate me? Well, James, I don't think your cockatiel hates you. So I asked a bit more information. You sort of said you haven't had him too long, and generally your cockatiel's happy to sort of be on you. Did you say? No, you didn't say his name. My goodness. Okay. Happy to relax around you and sort of sit on you. So you haven't had him too long, but the fact that your cockatiel's happy to sit on you and, will step up for you with a treat and, just keep doing that sort of stuff. But it may take a bit more time for your cockatiel to start trusting you fully, even on the shoulder, because sometimes if they're on the shoulder and you suddenly turn your head or you suddenly make a move, that can be quite scary for them. And they may just lunge at you, even though they're just because they're a bit stressed, really, not because they hate you or anything, just a bit stressed. Chip and Fish still do it to me very occasionally. And actually, I had a comment on my question in my comments a while back about something similar. And both Chip and Fish will sit on my shoulders, and generally I can move my head and relax, and they're completely fine. And that took a bit of time. They would lunge at me, and very occasionally, even now, they will. Generally, I think Fish is the worst for it. Fish will settle down, he'll be sleeping, there'll be a sudden noise, and then it's like, and he sort of like lunges at my skin. Doesn't bite me or anything, but it's sort of like, I don't know, hecks me, tells me off. So it's a common cockatiel thing, and you will see it happen. Just as long as they're not biting you, it's fine. If they are, maybe build up more trust or not let them on the shoulder until they do. Hopefully answer your question. Mr. Teeny, my goodness, thank you very much. But I think that's a little bit too generous, to be honest. You probably need the money as much as me. You should be spending that money on yourself, treating yourself to video games, stuff for the budgies. Do feel free, as always, anyone who's on our Patreon, anyone who give us money of any sort, please feel free to reach out to us. We are here to help. We do it a lot for free. So for you guys that support us, which I'm going to talk about a little bit about later, it's even more important, and we feel not obliged, but we want to reciprocate and help you. So thank you very much, Mr. Teeny. If you want some of it back, let me know, because that is an awful lot. I don't want to feel ungrateful, but yeah, thank you. Don't worry about Vixadella, honestly. Right, let's catch up. Well, so that's basically the theme of the chat. I think Mr. Teeny's kind of like dropped the mic on that one. Everyone's just like, I must admit, I'm a little bit. Look, do not ever feel obliged to give us money. Do not ever feel obliged to give us any money. We do not expect it. We appreciate it. It's always useful, but we're not. Well, let's paraphrase. We don't expect it from you. We're grateful for it. We can use it, but we're definitely not going to be like every single video, like some YouTubers being like, "Oh, give us cash, or else," So honestly, there's no requirement to give us cash, And if you do, remember, we want to help you too. The only time we do want to be paid is when we do consults or actual work, that we feel like we should be paid for. So, don't feel free to keep the money coming when you've actually hired us for a professional service, because that is completely different. Right. So let's move on to another question from Tracy. How do you desensitize a timid conure to go into an outside aviary? We are building one soon. He's scared to be by windows. Movement outside scares him. I mean, it's almost like you've almost answered your question there. You need to get him used to going near those windows. So try and get him used to being near the windows and movements outside initially. So maybe have a perch near the window. Maybe reinforce him for being calm near the window. Use negative reinforcement technique. So, for example, I can't really demonstrate because I can't get up. So the window's there, your conyer's on your hand here. If you can just make it standing on top of the hand, and you bring him up to the point where he's like a bit nervous. Wait. So he starts to calm down, take him away. Negative reinforcement, as simple as that. The reinforcement is getting away from the scary window. And then you compare it with positive later. Start there, get him used to going to a travel carrier or a smaller cage, and maybe take that outside into the aviary. Just take it in little small steps to get him used to it. And thank you very much, Vixenella. You have officially joined the naughty club. It's what can you do? You just got everyone wants to be part of the naughty club these days. Thank you, Lessa. We try. I mean, we love to give in many ways. Although, as we'll talk about later, there's ways we like to give, and we feel that we don't deserve anything back. There's ways we do feel like we deserve something back, but that's not from you guys. That's from elsewhere. So it's good that you're Jen. It's good that your budgie target trains and takes millets. Happy to take millet. That's great. If you've got that, then if she's target trained and you've got somewhere to start with the biting, you can do soft targeting. Do I have a target stick? Remind me later. We'll try it with Chip and Fish. We'll show you live, because I always appreciate when we do live training, or maybe with Scampi and Pickles, one of them two pairs, because they're the best to have out during live or filming, because generally they're the best behaved, especially in this current very hot environment. Thank you, Gina. We want to sort of toe the line between gratitude and being British, so it's very difficult to do so sometimes. Right, so I'm going to do a couple more of these just so people don't feel like they're being left out. They submitted questions ahead of time, then we'll catch up with the chat again. So we've done James and Amy. Well, it's a nice easy one. We talked about training just now. So it's from Phil and Cockatiel called Cookie. Do you ever get frustrated with training? He sometimes feels like it's just too hard sometimes and gets annoyed with it. Of course we do. Both me and Sophie sometimes get frustrated with training. We try not to show it, especially if we're ever on camera, but behind the scenes, we try not to show it either. You basically just try and finish the session, stop, and maybe if you have to, step away and then come back if it's particularly like you got bitten or something like nasty happened, or just try and rethink how you approach it. We watched quite a nice video where someone else was giving a presentation on just how training works, and just analysing what happens before, if that's affected the training, analysing what happens afterwards, your consequences, and just basically making the middle the best possible so you can mitigate both factors. So it'll get frustrated during training. It's just trying to come back to it and working out what you've done wrong and trying to improve upon it, basically. It's quite normal. We are only human. We all get annoyed and frustrated with our situations. Me and Sophie are no exceptions to that. We just try to hide it from our birds because we don't want to upset them. So we just sort of whinge at each other later, maybe. Right. I'll finish off these two questions, then I can just focus on the chat and then get the birds out and focus on that. So Amanda, my conure won't stop biting my arm. She seems to be happy with me, but just keeps biting me. So again, I asked for a bit more information on this. So the conure is very young, and the conure hasn't been in the house very long. So Amanda, Again, try the soft targeting, which I'll show a bit later. And if you watch my target training videos, that will help a bit. Your conure is probably beaking a little bit. They're a little bit unsure of their environment. They're very little, so that often contributes to beaking a little bit. And they need to be sort of taught almost manners and how to interact with you, some boundaries. So once you teach those, your conure will probably be a bit more gentle, and it will probably sort of improve over time. Manage those hormones as well, and make sure it's not over excess energy as well. So I didn't ask about diet, but yeah, it's not something unusual. You know, it's not, again, your conure doesn't dislike you, especially if they're happy to interact with you. It's just something they do and something you need to work through and improve upon through training, basically. I've seen a few things about like anti-training and training is bad and it's not natural. And I was like thinking, no, training is perfectly natural because birds train each other in the wild. They learn from each other. So we're basically fulfilling that role. But I'm not going to go on to that because that's a rant, like, forming, basically. So one last question from my sheet, and then we'll catch up with the chat and then sort of maybe get some birds out and see what's going to happen. So Colin asked, he has a sun conure. He loves to ring his bell, then grabs the cage bars below while fluttering his wings constantly. Does it at bedtime or when Colin asks the sun conure to step up? And then someone suggested that the conure could be annoyed, and that's possible. But then you mentioned that the conure is happy to be scritched on the head and interact with you during that time. So there's a couple of things that I would sort of like wonder there. Bells and loud sounds can be quite overstimulating to conures, some conures included. So maybe when the bell's ringing, the reflections there, that's very exciting. You're there as well, and your conure is getting overstimulated. It could also potentially be hormonal behaviour due to the reflection and the loud noise, especially if they're happy to scratch you. I don't know if they're like, when they're doing the wing flicking, I don't know if it's like a violent thrusting motion. I don't want to demonstrate it too because it's quite embarrassing, but sometimes you can see that as a hormonal behaviour, like almost like trying to mate with something. Other times you can just see it as an overstimulated, exciting behaviour. So I'll just watch your conure and see what exactly they're trying to do. I wouldn't say it's necessarily unusual, as long as, especially when they're interacting with you softly, but it's something to bear in mind. Maybe see if the bell's the problem, remove that with the toy, keep the rest. Maybe approach step up differently. Just look into it. But yeah, nothing to really worry about. So that's it. That's all the questions I had ahead of time. I was expecting loads. I've only got a few, but it does give me more time to sort of like catch up on the chat. So let's have a look. Catch up on the chat and get you the fish out, I think, because they're being noisy. So Demi, my Cockatiel Kiwi, I've had him for a couple of years and he loves people. I got 2 green chicks a year later, and for some reason he's quite obsessed with one. He follows him and doesn't want to be away. It's not a problem as they don't fight, but he screams for him if I take him away somewhere and just gets confused. So it sounds like your Cockatiel, like Kiwi, just wants to be with one of the conures. They've gotten older, they've gotten to maturity, and they want a friend, you know, and they want another bird friend. So that's probably why they're obsessed with it. And cockatiels can get obsessive when they come of age and they get hormonal. If they get on fine and they're not trying to, you know, do that, then that's not a problem as well. You could do some exercises, try and get them used to being apart. But yeah, it's a tough one because mixed species can work quite well, especially if they get on because you've seen it. But sometimes mixing them in a cage can be a problem. So I don't know how you want to approach it. If you want them all in one big cage or you want to keep them separate. Yeah, I mean, it's not unusual, to be perfectly honest. Dolkara, I can't wait to meet you guys. Yeah, we can't wait to meet. Oh, awesome. I'm glad we've helped with Sprout Mix. I'm sure that's more Sophie than me. It'd be very nice to meet you too. You know, we're quite excited to talk, to give sort of like a live training talk to people, Louis, and then just meet people. We're not expected to get recognised by people or anything, but it could be quite fun. And it'd be fun to walk around and look at bird stuff ourselves and meet other people too. Gina, have you or Sophie done a video on parrot safe house plants just in case they end up nibbling or eating them? I don't think we have. I don't know if Sophie has. I think Sophie might have. I mean, we do, as Dolkara said, we do have our list, our safe list we send to people, but I'm not sure we've done a formal video on it. I think that'll probably be a Patreon one, maybe, depending on what our schedule's like. We'll see what we can do about that. So... Helen, what are your feelings related to the harness? Also, how would you go about starting to train with a harness? I have a little conure who's an amazing little bird. We quite like harnesses, you know, especially we like aviator harnesses because they're the most secure. There are some harnesses on the market which are very easy for your bird to slip out from, so you have to keep that in mind, that you don't want a harness that just literally just going to be straight out of and then your bird's gone. You know, the whole point of it is to be secure. The aviator is a bit harder to train. And how would you start training? Well, right now is the best time to start. You've got a little baby conure. They're not used to it. When they get older, it's much harder. So basically now is the time. So the place to start is just getting used to being around that harness, getting used to being around it, getting to interact with it. And then the next step would just be getting them to put their head through the ring. That's probably the most difficult part at the start. If you can just hold some treats, high value treats, and get them to put their head through the ring and just leave it at that point for a while, you will build up a bit of trust and they'll begin to trust the harness more. Then you can start doing the wing movements and sort of training that bit. There's a lot of videos on harness training. Most of them are harness, positive reinforcement, bird, done, finished, and they're not very helpful. So there's a lot in between. But when your conure is a baby, that is the easiest time. So if you can do it now, it's going to be a lot easier and save you a lot of fuss. So Vic's still on Pro's target training. When she sees the seed container, which is getting treated, she focuses on the container instead of getting the award treat. So you want to be hiding that container, perhaps. Maybe have it like in a hoodie. I know it's pretty warm. Maybe just a little pouch or something, and make sure. You can even palm, like you can sometimes hide treats in there, and we have the stick sticking out of there. It depends on how your conure is. Laura, hi, welcome, and Mr. Teeny, you had a question. How did you start your journey of parrots? Sophie will have her own version of that. For me, it was just having them when I was little. I always loved them. I like brightly coloured things. I like animals, so I just liked that aspect of it, and then it sort of just carried on from there. But it was always just a pet thing for me, and just never really a professional thing for me. I volunteered a bit and did some volunteering back then, but that was it. And then it sort of just like started there, and then like went up and up, and then it was like, oh, okay, I know how to do public speaking. I know how to, like, I used to be like a teacher sort of thing, teacher with all sorts of different people, a lecturer. And then I thought, well, Sophie actually encouraged me. So I was in a bit of a low point at that point. Why don't you just do YouTube? It's like, okay, started it. It's going to be some general rubbish on there, and found I had quite a lot to offer. And then with sort of Sophie as well, with her background, it combined, and then it just spiraled. And now look at the flock, because I suppose we didn't have the capability to have, individual situations in the past, which I won't go into. It's quite boring and sad. We didn't have the capability to have what we have now. But now we're together. We both love parrots, so we can share our knowledge about them. We have the confidence to do so, thanks to each other, and we can have the facility to have lots of parrots. Not as many as we probably want, or the space would love for them. We'd love them to have their own bird room. But yeah, I suppose that's how it started. Just started with just having them, liking them, being around them, and then sort of skyrocketed when me and Sophie got together, really. That's the best way to describe it. Tracy, my conure is hormonal constantly. What can I do? I don't promote it. To cover that, basically my hormone videos would be the most concise way of looking into that. You want to look at the diet. You want to look at all sorts of things related to it. Hormones have so many causes, and I could rattle off a huge list in this live. It'll take me a good 5 minutes just to go through. So most of the common stuff is hormones, environment, inappropriate touching, and biology, their time of year. That can have an impact as well, and sleep. So look at those aspects and watch the video, and that's where your starting point. Don't remember if I said hi, Laura. Hi, Laura, if I didn't say hi, Adara, as well, if I didn't say hello. So Demi, to add on to Kiwi, they're in separate cages ever since I've had. More aggressive towards me when he sees new people. He gets excited and sings, and then he tries to bite. So it sounds like hormonal behaviour, Demi. He's gotten very excitable. He's at that age. He has his fun of singing, then mooting and biting, being aggressive. He's on pellets and chop. What pellets is he on, just out of interest? But again, it's looking at the hormones and managing the hormones, making sure all those factors are in place, and maybe doing some training with him to try and mitigate how hard he bites. And yes, Drop Talk does have a good harness training video. Actually, the actual harness training video, rather than just ta-da, it's done. Very good. Thank you, Tamara. It's very kind of you. And hello in Canada. It's probably a bit cooler there than it is here. Yeah, I'm glad Cola's having a much happier life. Thank you, Joe. We try our best. Yeah, thank you. Exactly. Again, thank you, Sophie says. So Adara, how do you and Sophie cope with the misinformation and mistreatment we often see when it comes to parrots? It can be very disheartening. It is disheartening, and it's one of our kind of pet hates, because us and a lot of other people try to promote like doing the best for your parrot, you know, based on science, based on research, based on, you know, lots of experience. And then you have other channels which are much bigger promoting the opposite. And it's very frustrating for us when we don't get seen, we don't get promoted in those channels that do. And it's even worse on social media like TikTok, Facebook, when you have cliques and stuff. So how do we cope? We try to educate where we can rather than attack people. So if we have a little nibble, someone say, why don't you try this instead? We'll do that. We obviously have our channels where we try and give the right information. We like, will you guys do it as well? You know, it's nice to see that you guys try it. You know, that's heartening for us, and it helps us cope. That so many people that do know what to do, use common sense, and like think, well, hang on, maybe I'll question that and research that. That is nice for us. Yeah, that's basically it. So Demi, Harrison's isn't too bad. So I wouldn't say that would be a cause. Just looking into hormonal causes, basically. Thank you, Scampy and Pickles. I think I know who's coming out, maybe instead of Chip and Fish initially. Thank you, Mr. Teeny. We do enjoy it. No, thank you. As I said, thank you. We enjoy talking about them. I just enjoy teaching and educating. And generally, if it's something I like, I will talk passionately about it. I've been kind of discouraged from that in the past and ended up not talking about stuff I like very passionately. So this gives me an avenue to do so, which I quite enjoy. Joe, they're all going to be individuals. Passive bonding takes time. If you're noticing that the passive bonding sort of maybe hit a wall, try a little bit of active, maybe just like holding the tree up for the bars, having that hand still in the cage and let them walk over it for a treat. Passive bonding is great, and sometimes you can hit a wall with it, so you might have to try some more active techniques. Other times it takes more time. Like with Charlie, I'm having to take more time on that step. But yeah, don't be afraid to do some active stuff through the cage. Maybe that will help speed things up a little bit and maybe skip a few steps. Yeah, Gina, I don't really go on much social media. I want to like, for example, it's a perfect example. On Instagram, I want to like all your guys' stuff, but I find it difficult to go on there. So I often just post my stuff and maybe like a couple of things and then go. So that's why I don't like interact with you. Not because I don't want to interact with you. I love interacting with you. But yeah, are any of birds target trained, harness trained? So Pickles was well on the way, Scampy's well on the way, and then it just sort of fell on the way. So we have too many things to do, too many birds to take care of, basically. Plus, we're not too confident in our area with them because the hawks, even with a harness. So we kind of put it on the back burner. It's something we would like to do and work on again, but other training kind of took a priority. So we were just like, what do we do? So we sort of focused on other stuff, and we just got loads going on. So it's like trying to keep up on top of it. I think you should try it, Parrots on Wheels. It's confidence. Confidence is something you get after you do it most of the time. I think someone called Mark Freeman, who is a mental health channel I follow, he's got some great advice. You know, not all of it's great when you're at the lowest point, but it's a good starting point. And, you know, confidence is kind of something you train rather than have. You don't really have confident people unless their background has created it for them, you know, where they've had those advantages, where people have encouraged them. You know, confidence is something you have to cultivate. And you can cultivate confidence in yourself. And I think that's what happened with this, basically. I mean, I was very skeptical about doing YouTube. Sophie started it. She encouraged me to do it, and the confidence grew over time. Watch some of my older videos, you can probably see how nervous I was, you know, and I still get nervous. I get nervous doing this live stream still. So, and we all have our own different forms of courage as well. Not to sound too corny, you know, so maybe you could experiment with it or find another way to share your story, basically. So before I do anything else, let's, I don't know, I think I'll just get Chip and Fish out like I originally planned, because the conures settle down and I'll get them out a little bit later. Come on in, boys. Come out for a couple of minutes. Well, a little bit longer, actually. Come in. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. You can say hello. What you got to say? You're barking at everyone. cockatiels and harness is a good combination. I've seen lots of great harness trained cockatiels. It just takes a lot of time, and a lot of people started when they're little. That's the best time, really. Later on, it takes a lot more time, a lot more patience. And I would watch your videos as well, Parrots and Wheels. We need more good content and more sort of like diverse content and more content. Don't you dare, you little monster. Do you understand? And more content that shows that everyone can do it. Because I've seen a bit of hate recently towards people with various issues when there shouldn't be. You know, everyone can have birds mostly. You know, it's about adaptation and see what you can do and working from there, basically. So let's do a pick. I end up doing, I'm getting like other big YouTuber who constantly does this. Let's do a couple of bits of target training just to show you soft targeting, those who were asking about it. Are you guys going to be willing? Can I get you where you can see me? Fish. So with soft targeting, it's like it's normal targeting, but you come from slightly further away and above, and you try to get this touch to stick ever so softly. You can do this. So you chip. Don't be a terror. I'm trying to get Fish to demonstrate something. Or do I have to do it with you? Let's do it this side then. Come on. You do it? You can do it for me. Touch. And you see, it's a very, very gentle touch. And you only want to reward for the most gentle touch. I think I end up demonstrating this in most of my lives now, because someone always asks about it, about biting. And the point of doing it over normal targeting is you do not reward anything unless it's the softest thing. You should be doing that normal as well. But you have to make them really reach for it. You can see Chip really reaching for that with his tongue. Obviously, I'm not cueing and I'm not bridging it because it's not necessary with him. As you may have seen in my latest kicker video, are you going to be allowed? You good boy. Do you want to do another one for me? But yeah, that helps with biting a lot because it teaches your bird interactions with you need to be soft. One more. Come on. Good boy. Have your snacks now. I won't disturb you anymore. You'd think they'll be full up from their dinner, but no. You want to see Chip wave and shake? Right. So give me a sec. Let them sort of enjoy themselves for a moment. So I don't want to be mean to them. And then I'll get Chip and we'll do some shake hands and thingies. So let's catch up with the chat while it's relaxing. Do you have a backpack recommendation? We're looking at different ones for the flock. I don't know what would be the best. Well, we quite like the one we got from Northern Parrots. I think you're in the UK. That's quite sturdy. It's very expensive, I must say, but it's quite a nice backpack and it's quite roomy as well. We often take Olive out in it and for like walks because she just enjoys it. Although probably has to come with Charlie now. She probably gets stressed on her own. But yeah, the Northern Parrots one's quite a good one. I don't know if Sophie has any sort of anything else to follow on that. They are handsome boys. Adara, yes, he loves his head bonks. Fish is all big. He loves his barking. He loves his bonking. He also loves doing tongue clicking a lot. Chip, you won't see tongue clicking often. Fish constantly. And it's not even an overstimulated thing for him anymore. He just enjoys doing it. Who is the most cuddliest, affectionate bird you have? Also currently trying to harness train. Well, how is it going with your green cheek, Demi? And who's the cuddliest and most affectionate? I think it'll be a cross between Chip. With me personally, with me it's Chip or Pickles. Pickles absolutely loves going to my eye socket. She loves being around me. It used to be, I'd say Olive, but Olive now has Charlie, so she doesn't really want to do it with me as much anymore. And Chip has to come on me. He has to go on his hand. Fish will sit there. Chip will sit there. They'll have their positions. They know where they want to be. And Chip will just constantly demand scritches. He'll like lean. I wouldn't call it lunging. He like leans at me. He tries to rub his beak on me just to demand that I pet him constantly. And Fish has his moments as well. But yeah, for now, I'd say it's Pickles and Chip. But they all can be affectionate. I mean, Kipling like really loves it when I scritch his beak through the cage bars. And he's been really sort of soft with Sophie. Charlie likes getting it from Olive, but doesn't like it from us yet. Scampy has his moments. Like he'll love cuddling on my neck sometimes. Yeah, and it's a little bit sad that I don't get to cuddle Olive as much, but, you know, she's getting someone else to do it for her. It's like, you know, I think I said this last time, you know, giving her away. She's got her fella now. Yeah, I like that backpack as well. It's quite a nice one. Chip, are you done? Do you want to come here for a second? Good boy. Are you going to do some training for me? So let's see if he'll do it. You in the wave? You're not in the mood, are you? Or you're a bit scared of the setup? So it's perfect parrot training in action. I'll try and get it to do it up there if he's willing. You gonna wave? You gonna wave for me? You gonna shake? You're a good boy, aren't you? I don't know, something's making him nervous over here. Not quite sure what, because he's used to all this stuff. Oh, you are okay. That'll explain that. He wants to posture his brother. So we've had a little bit of posturing between the brothers recently. They like posturing each other and Fish is barking. Probably going to see it in a minute. He may even start singing, so I'll let him carry on doing that. I can try again if you guys demand it later, or they might just relax, but I don't really want to disturb them too much. Phoenix can chew through Java wood. I'm worried about getting one, but I think it would be better to take. Yeah, I mean, most of these backpacks are, especially if you get like a decent one, they're quite durable, and you'd notice when it's getting chewed through, so you'd be able to stop it. You know, if you just keep an eye on it, it should be fine. And the mesh most of the time is quite durable as well, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. That's one would recommend, the Northern Parrots one. Not just because we get lots of sponsorships from them, just generally because it is the generally best one we've seen so far. Peggy, why does my cockatiel all land on my head? I think I did a video on that, on shoulders and heads and cockatiels and conures. Probably because your cockatiel feels safest on your head and it's the highest point. Most of the time people say that cockatiels and other parrots go on the head because it's dominating, they want to rule you. But mostly it's the safest, it's the highest, it's the easiest to look at, and they're still with you. That's always the best spot. Laura, I'd like to try harness, but it scares me. I'm afraid she'll get out, even with a good one. Plus, we have a lot of So basically, Laura, that you just expressed our fears in a nutshell. Why we've sort of put it on the back burner. Sophie's very worried that our birds will get out. I'm worried about it. The birds of prey are a worry. And it's not really necessary for them to have an enriched life. We'd love to do it, but I think we'd want to take some bigger steps before and get them used to being outside a lot more. Maybe in an outside aviary before even trying it. Hello, stuck in Lazy Corner again. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Just doing the sort of Q&A and the birdie section. Tracy Ann, do your newer conures get along with your older ones? So, how to express this? So, no, to put it bluntly, no. Louis and Kipling are a special case. They don't really get on with the other birds very much at all. Chip and fish will generally tolerate everyone, and they'll be tolerated by everyone because they're just like nice. They're just harmless. The conures don't generally like each other. Apart from Charlie likes Olive. That's it. And that's the problem because they're all rescues. Apart from Charlie, I suppose he technically counts as a rescue, but he came from quite a good home. They're all rescues. They all have very different backgrounds, different personalities. They don't really mesh very well. And I feel if we wanted to work on it, we would need more space, a lot more space to give them more territory. We would love to have them all out together and have them all getting on. But at the moment, it's not really feasible, and we feel that's okay as long as they're all getting their time out and they're getting plenty of time and fun. Something we'd like to improve upon, but again, it's a lot of work. And right now, we basically want them. Our goal right now was to have every single bird have a friend. So Chip and Fish have each other, Pickles and Scampi have each other, Lou and Kipling have each other. We wanted Olive to have someone. That's why we took on Charlie, so that everyone would have a friend, and then we can work on it from there. So maybe after they're bonded, we may start exploring getting the conures to get on with each other again, because I think what we can do with our bonding time afterwards, we certainly cannot have any more birds. So maybe that would be a good project to have, actually. Maybe seeing if we can get. Do I want to risk Lou and Kip? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Stay tuned on that one. That's an interesting comment. Laura, I've heard neighbours say they'll go for their small dogs, even when oh, blimey, yeah, that's quite scary. That's a scary thought. Roos, I have a 3-month-old baby green cheek. She's really tame and cuddly, but she nibbles way too hard. I literally answered this question a little bit earlier in the live. So just a quick demonstration again, and then we'll see if we can get chips away for you guys. So first thing, target training. If you don't do that, and do it soft target training. So Chip, you ready? With soft targeting, come from nice and high and above and make sure they touch it ever so gently and then reward them. You're teaching your conure to be gentle with you. You only reward if they're soft with it. That is it. Also, sorry, let me look at my quick notes here. I've covered so many things. It depends. How old is your conure again as well? Your conure is still very young, so she will nibble. So the soft targeting will help with that. Setting some boundaries as well, so she's not always nibbling you in certain spots. But soft targeting generally is the place to start with a conure like that, because it's not really going to be dire and it will improve as they get older. Are you willing to come here now, Chip? Are you going to come for me? Are you going to step up? Do I have to treat you? Yeah, I do. Good boy. Don't forget, stepping up, consent, you have to treat with it. He just really doesn't want to be over here. I think this, I'm not going to force him, so that's it. I'll try and do a wave here so you can see a bit closer. You want a wave? Good boy. We'll try and do a shake, and then I'm just going to let him go back over there, because I don't think he wants to be here. Shake. Good boy. I'll give you one fish just because you're fish. Come here. Good boy. Right. Sorry about that little interlude there. So Adara, Horus will often chase and bite the girls when foraging. Not always, but I wonder if this is a way of establishing boundaries, or is just a territorial bird. Potentially. so you do get more like prominent personalities in flocks. Just because it's not a dominance hierarchy doesn't mean you'll have like birds that are more bullish than others, so to speak. It could be boundaries. He could be being territorial. Probably more likely to be boundaries. Do you have? As long as you're not biting them hard, it's fine. And maybe have multiple foraging training, just sort of practice his tolerance level of having the girls near him. No, Gino, yeah, it's adorable. It's what Pickles does to me. It's so cute when they do it. I love it when Pickles sits on my head and sort of like naps. It's absolutely adorable. I saw it Squat. Squat was adorable when she did that too. Demi, harness training is going okay. I'm doing it with my green cheek Inca. She's not the one to be touched, but I am slowly working on picking up her wing and getting her head through. So you sound like you're doing well, to be honest, Demi. So great. Good on you. You're doing it right, taking your time in this right best way. Joe, F10. So Sophie's got the answers to that. Yeah, generally F10 is really safe. It's probably one of the best ones you can get. It's literally just the safest one. Wild Dalcara. Well, that's one way of doing it after firing it. I think we saw that video as well, actually. Yeah, stuck in lazy corner, very true. Different types, different concentrations. Get your concentrations right with diluting it. You don't want like neat F10 because that is going to be like, it will basically like destroy every microbe in like a 10-mile radius. Make sure you're behaving yourself. I have to look at them through here to make sure they're behaving. Generally, they're very good. But yeah, so yeah, make sure you get your concentrations correct. Yeah, it's possible, Jennifer. He just wants all the goodies for himself. I know Pickles can be a bit naughty like that. So Scampy and Pickles, they're bonded, they cuddle, they love it. But Pickles can be really mean to him sometimes. She can basically be like, right, I'm having this bowl, you're off. And he has to fly off. And he flies to me and he gives me this look like, oh dear, excuse me. Please give me treats. You want Pickles? Okay. Don't say I don't give you guys what you want. It's a good one to use, bearded dragon. What? So just for my benefit, because I'm curious, stuck in lazy corner, what do you use on the bottom of your bearded dragon? Do you use substrate? Do you sand? What sort of bits do you use on there? Just while I'm popping these guys back. You boys. Right, terrors. You and Dave yourself. I know I'm going to move Charlie back a little bit because I know you're funny with Scampy. Sorry, Charlie. Let's pop you here. Yeah, we'll pop you back after I finish filming. You can clean up the baby up there. Come. You wait for everyone. That's a bit better, isn't it? You wait for Pickles? You making shape? I can't see what I'm doing. Go. Oh, cool. That sounds good. Who do you think you're beating? Can you shake my hand? Can you shake my hand? Oh dear. You're showing me up now. Scampy. Spin. Wow, you really are showing me up. Is that a fan? There you go. I know what you're going to do now. So if you want snacks there, I'll keep Pickles on my head. I'll let him enjoy snacks and maybe we'll swap over because I said Pickles would be naughty to him. It sounds like F10's a popular thing. I'm glad that it's good because we really like it. Sorry, I'm just reading. Yeah, they can be nosy. So yeah, sometimes cockatiels are like that. They can be sort of like 0 to 100, but they generally very rarely actually bite like that unless they're like actually have a problem. Pickles. Yeah, Scampy is generally really good at training. Apart from when he's on camera most of the time. Like if I'm filming, it's fine. But if I put him in front of this live laptop, unless he's on that stand, he's going to be pretty funny. That's cute, Laura. I mean, Pickles dancing is like legendary. She doesn't do it as much as she does. She tends to posture now. Do you want down? Is that what you're after? You want down? What do you want? Do you want? Oh, you want my drink? You can't have that drink, I'm afraid. How are we doing for time? So I'm going to be on for about another 10 to 15. Then I'm going to start wrapping up. So if there's any more questions, please feel free to, there we go, posturing. You can see overstimulated Conure in action here. My loud booming voice, and you can see her generally dancing to it. Welcome, Iris. Hello. I love Pickles' dances. She's such a cute bird. You know, she opened the world of conures to us, and now we have too many. What do you want? Hello? Hello? I don't think I want you doing that, little one. And when I'm kissing her, by the way, it's always dry. I don't approve of wet kissing any parrot. It's not a good idea. Do you find it? Oh, he's got to find himself a straw. Could I go through the colour variations of all my conures? No. I'm sorry, Debbie, but I hate it. People have these like fixations on colour variations, and for me, they're just conures. They're green cheek conures. They're crimson bellies. So if Sophie fancies, she can do it. But yeah, Gina, you rejoin the naughty club. Thank you very much. It's always much appreciated. Thank you, Gina. You know, it's just just very, very, very grateful to you and everyone else. Yes, Klaus, conures are amazing with their feet, and it's just interesting. I don't know if it's because they're part of the Amazon family, you know, from that area. The way they manipulate things, because they're canopy feeders, they have to use their feet more to grasp things. But both Chip and Fish use their feet to do things. They pin stuff with it. I often see Fish using his hand to grip things. So don't be afraid to try and teach your cockatiel to use their feet. I swear you're on Patreon. If you're not on Patreon, then if you're on Patreon, so there's a video on Patreon about teaching your cockatiel to use their feet and encouraging it. It's quite an old one, but it's well worth it. You are, Klaus. I swear you are. If not, I can try and give you access to it. Okay, Sophie's on her way home while doing that. Got to catch up all this. Let me catch up with the naughtiness, then we'll carry. Alice, thank you very much. We really appreciate you as well. Thank you, Laura, as well. It's very generous. It's very, very naughty. Both you and Alice are very naughty. Much appreciated as always. Thank you very much. It's just so kind of you. Yeah. Rainforest cage. We have one rainforest cage. I think it's Olive's cage, which we're actually trying to like give to a charity, but no one wants it. Yeah, because we're going to put them in the same cage together. It's funny how charities don't want free parrot charities don't want free stuff. So yeah, just before I forget to say, so with regards to what I was saying earlier about appreciating you lot a lot, what might happen soon is because YouTube doesn't really promote our videos a lot, and it can be quite frustrating. We put a lot of effort into our videos and it doesn't really get seen or interacted with. We may be scaling back our YouTube videos slightly. This does not mean we'll be stopping them. The lives will be constant. We'll be continuing with them. With regards to YouTube videos, you may see like a gap once in a while of a week where we won't be doing one. That's purely because we want to focus on like Patreon and our work, because we do need to generate more income. Basically, we want more space for our parrots. We want to do better for them. We want to do better for ourselves. I was thinking of studying, and I'm now having second thoughts about it due to the rising cost of everything, because I'd rather not spend that amount of money. There's a couple of things I want to treat us to, which is fine. But, you know, when you're throwing away £8,000, that's too much. So, yeah, you may see a few less videos, but do be assured on YouTube, we're going to continue putting out the free content. It'll just be a little bit less because most of the stuff that gets viewed is the older stuff that we make. And we want to put out more Patreon content and maybe do more special stuff, more courses, and put the time into there. That was the sort of slightly sad bit about things. So, yeah, not going anywhere, but might be a bit less. Thank you very much. It's a bit naughty again. I'm going to use your username, Xing Emporia, because I quite like saying it. It's quite rolls off the tongue. So thank you very much. Much appreciated. Both you and Iris are always very kind and generous. And, you know, I hope you're happy with how things are as well. Foot toys. I love watching conures and cockatiels use foot toys. Where do you want to go? What do you want? What do you want? So those are, yeah, foot toys are awesome to watch. And also spices, you know, like a bit of cinnamon. Louis, the way he holds, because he's got one leg, the way Louis manipulates foot toys or spices is funny. The way these guys hold Star Anise and like pull the bits off, it's very cute. Well, yeah, this is much appreciated. Adara's joined the naughty club. I like the cute emojis as well. Thank you very much, Adara. It's much appreciated. No, thank you. You know, thank you all. You know, we want to do the best by Charlie, and it's just nice to see. It was so cute. Today he was having a wash, and the noises he makes, squealing. Obviously, I can't be in that room with him, but watching him squeal and have fun is amazing. I think so. Again, I've got about 5-10 minutes left, and I'll be finishing up. So if there's any more questions anyone wants to ask, please do drop them in now, so I can respond to them if I missed anything. I honestly don't know. I think the problem with Parrot organisations is most of them operate on a fostering basis. So the big organisation doesn't really care about cages. They don't want to deal with the trouble of dealing with them. It's all done by free fosterers who may get some support, may not, and they're the ones that want the cages. So I think that's the problem. And a lot of them. Yeah, there's a lot of great ones. There's some not so good ones, basically, is what I'll say. So we found it very confusing, especially as Olive's cage is a premium cage. It's a really nice cage, you know, and it would be a shame to just put it to waste, you know. Yes, definitely, Alice. It does vary on cockatiels. I think training them. Where do you want to go? Honestly, I think training plays a big part in them for cockatiel use their feet, especially when they're young. But yeah, it does vary from individual to individual, and also you can see which hands, feet birds use. They have a dominant and a less dominant hand. For example, Scampy likes to use his right quite a lot. Olive is ambidextrous, which is really cute. She'll use both hands. It's really adorable to see how Olive will just. I think it's amazing. I honestly think it should be like going viral everywhere, but people don't seem to care. So, what tricks can our birds do? So let's go by the bird to bird. So for Pickle, she can wave, she can shake, she can do wings, she can spin, she can do tidy up as well, putting things in the container. Scampy, he's not so good at tidy up, but he's great at his recall, spinning, shaking, waving. Wings is something we need to work on with him because he's not as keen. He just does it and we just watch. Olive, she does that little dance with, she raises one foot, then the other, then the other, then the other, and waves. What else is Olive? Spinning. But I think every single one of our birds can spin, actually. She's trying to learn to tidy up, but she's not as good with it. So she's learning there. Kipling loves to spin, shake, wave. He does like all sorts. He's a very, very smart bird. He'll also love throwing things on the floor. He loves throwing socks on the floor. That was a trained behaviour. Probably not the wisest thing to train. Louis can spin, but obviously Louis has more limitations of what he can do. He can also fetch. Both Louis and Kipling can fetch. And then Chip and Fish, they low load, spin, shake, wave. The fetch, the tidy up behaviour, variations of that. I spent a lot of time training with them, and it's very rewarding, very fun. Exactly, Darkara. That's the biggest issue. That is the format of Parrot places in the UK. You know, it's difficult and it's not ideal. If me and Sophie ever get rich, we're going to have a big bit of land, and we're going to have volunteers and people coming in just to help us as well, but also so people gain experience with it. You're not having this. You're not having it. It's not for you. Stuck in Lazy Corn. Any thoughts on minimising flock calling? I said tends to scream for me a lot when I leave the room. So that's a big one. Actually, it's quite a big question. How can I give a really concise answer? Negative reinforcement, positive reinforcement. So do exercises like leaving the room, waiting for calm and quiet, then coming straight back into the room when it's calm and quiet. It's not very well explained. There's a bit more nuance to it, but that's the basic premise. You know, you wait for calm. So if you leave the room and he's screaming, you wait for that moment of calm, even if it's only a break. Then you come in. Then if you've got time, positively reinforce. If not, then you basically just like do it again and keep repeating. That's a very effective technique. We talk about a lot that a lot in consults, but in more depth because there's a bit more to it than that. What else is very good? Conditioned calm is very useful. Encouraging calm when there's excessive separation anxiety, screaming. What else was there? If Sid screams because he thinks you're going to be gone for a long period, just break it up a little bit, and also maybe go through your routine of leaving, then come back. And he's like, oh, because you want to break the associations of you leaving and being gone for a while. That tends to be where these flock calling incidents come from. Oh, I see. You want to go over there, right? 1 second. I'll pop these. I think Pickles wants to go back in, so I'll pop them back in, and then we'll sort of round things up. You want to go back in as well, Scrums? You come in. Good boy. There you go, home. Good boy. You're going to treat as well, Charles. There we go. Charlie, good boy. Right, sorry. Just wanted to make sure that was all sorted because if Sophie comes through a door, I want to be in the cage as well because the living room door's open. It's cute that Jupiter does that, Dora. I love it, Gina. I love the videos of him throwing stuff again. I think it's really cute. You should, Gina. If somehow we ever get big, which doesn't seem very likely, or we just win the lottery or something, we'll be like, yeah, everyone comes. We'll be like, we'll give you free stuff, etc. Yeah, we would be like, love all that stuff. Demi, what's your bird's favourite vegetables? For the conures, I'd have to say it is red pepper. For the boys, it's broccoli. All the conures love their red pepper. It's got a slightly sweet flavour. The boys love broccoli. That's probably their favourite veggie. And everyone loves peas. Peas are the ultimate favourite. No problem. That's what we're here for, basically. Try and give as much advice as we can. So, Demi, I've got a video on that. I think it's what to do with your parrot when you go on vacation. That sort of answers that question. There's only so much you can do, but that'll cover it rather than me rambling about it. Dalcara, flock calling in the toilet. Yeah, sometimes flock calling back can help, or communicating, depending on the level of anxiety. Some birds will respond to boys. Like, for example, if I leave the room, they're quite good on their own here, I'll go out, just do something quickly. If I flock call them, they're happy. That can work depending on it as well. As for the toilet, the conures, anyone goes to the loo here, the conures are joining you. And if, say, for example, I'm in here with Pickles and Scampi and Sophie goes, they're just leaning and they're desperate to go to. I don't know what the fixation with it is. They love it. We should, Gina. We'd love to. Dr. Jason Crean actually invited us to stay at his if we were to ever go to the US. And would love that, but again, would have someone look after that. Would need a lot more money, so need a lot more, and that's not no naughtiness due to that, please. Yeah, basically, we just need YouTube to take off or something to give. Really, all it would take is one viral video, then everything sort of spirals from it. It's just the problem with finding that one thing that gets you that edge into things, and until you reach that, you're kind of bumping along. But we are proud of what we've achieved already, and the fact we have made a difference and we interact with a lot of people, so that's good. It's not to be ungrateful. I don't know, Alice. I don't know what it is about going to the loo that makes birds want to go in there. The bathroom is the most fascinating place. It's like the Conure Holy Land. They just love it. It's amazing. It's well worth doing, especially it's a shame things are formatted, especially in the UK, the way they are, because there's so much opportunity for people to learn and to educate. And because of the way it's done, because I suppose it's the cheapest way of setting up a parrot rescue, sort of delegating. And I understand why it's done that way to an extent, but because it's done that way, it just doesn't give that option. And the ones that are really supportive, their fosterers are great, but the ones that are less so, it's just, goodness, it's going back to that thing that Adara said about seeing horrible things and just being like, what do you do about it? Because we're not influential enough to be like, right, you're doing it wrong, call people out. We'll just get a behind hounded to us, basically. come here. That's cute. Adara, what foods can I offer to help Horus with his molt? This molt has been going on for so long, he looks so rough. Peas are good. Peas, good stuff with protein in it. Peas, egg, as long as it's cooled down and there's nothing else in there. Both of those are really good to help with molting. And also, so this is I'm going to do a video on molting again because I feel there's some stuff I've learned and it's really important. So we noticed, just you're hearing it here first, okay? So we noticed that fish was putting on a lot of weight, and we thought, oh no, that's really bad. Fish is getting really big, it's getting really bulky. We need to get him to lose some weight. And what we realized is that fish was putting on that weight to help with his molt. He wasn't putting on that weight because he was getting big. He wasn't putting on that weight because we were feeding him too much. He was literally trying to eat extra because he knew that he was having a molt coming on. And then he wanted to prepare for that. His weight's back down to normal now. So if your parrot is putting on lots of weight and you notice some pinnies and stuff, it may be best not to reduce that food until that molt's over. Just to give them that front load, give their body extra support so they can deal with that molt. It's just a bit of food for thought because I like when it comes to molting and I notice it, I'm going to be like, no, let's keep the diet the same and see what happens, because it's really important. Because if they've got that extra sort of body mass and fat, it's going to have a lot less strain on their system. And there'll be, or Chip didn't put much on by the way, Gina. Chip was too busy thrusting and barking at the time, but Fish did. And I've noticed it with Olive as well. Now she's molting, her weight's come down as well. So it's something to bear in mind. It's very, very interesting. Dalcar, I'd like to say the information about Amazon body language unit is so annoying. I wish there was more about what Amazon's really like. If I had an Amazon, I'd do it. It's like with budgies, I see a lot of misinformation on them. I saw someone actually basically copy my Cockatiel video but do it wrong. And they're getting all the views from that now where we should be. It's really frustrating. Oh, yeah, it's really annoying when you see a lot of misinformation about behaviour and you want to correct it and you want to do it, but you can't. Yeah, Dara. So yeah, just keep an eye on them. If the oh goodness, I'm not sure I could cope with Amazon as well. Like a big parrot on top of these guys, that would be a lot to deal with. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to start wrapping things up now. I really appreciate you all joining me today. It was really nice. And again, a big thank you to everyone who gave some cash, who just came along. Mr. Teeny, again, your thing still flashed up because it was such a big amount. Thank you. Again, if you ever want to talk to us, you're built-in consult as well, don't forget. We want to help you guys. So we really appreciate you all for joining us. Really appreciate the donation. Really appreciate everything, basically. It's very much appreciated. And yeah, the live should hopefully be the normal time next time. But for this one, Adara sneaking one in again there. Yeah. So again, thank you very much all for joining me, and I hope you all have a great one.